Setiap orang punya impian. Impian itu yang bisa meneruskan kehidupan ini. Impian Dinda adalah...
Firstly, the synopsis of the movie. Puteri Gunung Ledang movie begins when the Majapahit Empire was hit hard after being attacked by Prince Demak from Java. Avoiding the incident from getting worse, the king of Majapahit, Gusti Adipati Handayanigrat, offered Demak to marry his sister, Gusti Puteri Retno Demila. Without his knowledge, Gusti Puteri had escaped by sailing to Gunung Ledang to be with her lover, Hang Tuah. However, an obstacle occurred between Puteri Gunung Ledang and Hang Tuah when Gusti Puteri's brother, Gusti Adipati, had to marry Gusti Puteri to the Sultan of Malacca, Sultan Mohamad. The courting messenger was sent and led by Hang Tuah himself. Finally, after various challenges, Gusti Puteri had to comply with the request of Hang Tuah, who was obedient to the Sultan, but with 7 conditions. The mission returned to Malacca Palace without Hang Tuah, who was disappointed at his failure. Sultan Mahmud was angry with the stubbornness of Gusti Puteri and was willing to accept the challenge of the 7 conditions, even though it could take the life of his own son. It was revealed throughout the passage that her request include blood, which reinforced and underlined the fact that the request was denied. The entrance of Gusti Puteri at the Malacca Palace stopped the Sultan of Mahmud from killing his own son in order to fulfill his desire to marry the Gusti Puteri. Gusti Puteri is set on settling in Gunung Ledang and will not wed the Sultan. Her request was approved by the Sultan, subject to the requirement that no one will be permitted to see the Gusti Puteri after dawn. They had sworn that if they vomit blood, they could die.
There are 2 main stakeholders in the film Puteri Gunung Ledang. There are Puteri Gunung Ledang, or her full name is Gusti Puteri Retno Ajeng Demila, and Hang Tuah. Puteri Gunung Ledang is the main character for this film, who is initially a princess of Majapahit and resides at the top of Gunung Ledang. On the other hand, Hang Tuah is the greatest warrior of Malacca, where he and Puteri fell in love with one another but is stuck with his obligations to Sultan and Malacca.
Menyucikan kaki ini kita lakukan.
Setapak melangkah, 2 langkah ingatan kanda pada Dinda.
Adinda bersumpah, jikalau Kekanda tidak kembali, Adinda akan menyusul Kekanda, menginjak pada tanah yang sama, bernafas pada udara yang sama.
Belayar berbelok-belok, sauh dibongkar di tempat tenang. Yang tinggal hati tak elok, yang pergi hati tak senang. Bila sampai waktu, kita akan bersama.
Let's look at the stakes faced by these 2 main holders. For Puteri Gunung Ledang, the first stake is independence and freedom. Gusti Puteri is in dilemma because Sultan Mahmud, Sultan of Malacca, seeks for her hand in marriage in order to help save her kingdom Majapahit. Hence, if she decides to accept the proposal, her independence and freedom will be carried away because she needs to fulfill her duty as Sultan's wife. Next, another stake she faces is the risk of betrayal to the family and country. Gusti Puteri silently leave her kingdom Majapahit with her servants to Gunung Ledang. She has doing the action without her brothers knowing and permission, who is also the king of Majapahit. This has caused risk because her action give bad impact and conflict to Majapahit that can jeopardize the country's future.
Dan tertinggal. kuat hembusan angin Melaka, kedatangan Gusti Putri akan sampai juga ke telinganya.
Lakukan ini sudah betul. Yang aku lakukan ini sudah betul.
Next, we will be focusing on Hang Tuah. One of the stakes he faces is personal integrity and responsibility. Hang Tuah is one of Sultan of Malacca's greatest warrior and also statesman. He is known as very loyal to the Sultan. He faces conflicting feelings of pursuing his feelings towards Puteri Gunung Ledang or keep being loyal to the Sultan. Moreover, the next stake is love and rejection. Hang Tuah knows that he and Puteri is impossible to be together because of the difference in status. He also knows that Puteri's father, the king of Majapahit, is against their relationship as it will not benefit any party. He faces risk of being considered disloyal, especially from the Sultan and people of Malacca.
Gusti Adipati, damaian Kadipaten terancam karena ulahmu. Cinta adikku padamu hanya akan mendatangkan bala. Kalau bukan karena Baginda Sultan Malaka, sudah kucincang kau. Kalau bukan karena Baginda Sultan, Laksamana.
There are two main characters in this film who are the heroine, Puteri Gunung Ledang, or her real name is Gusti Puteri Retno Ajendumila, and the villain Sultan of Malacca, Sultan Mahmud. For the heroine, Puteri Gunung Ledang has 4 ethical dilemmas. The first one is trust to a loved one. Gusti Puteri fell in love with Hang Tuah. In one of the scenes, she said to Hang Tuah that she will wait for him to come back to her, and if not, she will go to him herself. However, she faces dilemma whether Hang Tuah will choose her over his duty to Malacca or break his promise that he made to Gusti Puteri. Besides, the second ethical dilemma is personal happiness versus royal duty. Gusti Puteri's decision to reside at the top of Gunung Ledang has caused her dilemmas whether she has made the right decision, as her action will cause serious issues relating to her country, Majapahit. Next ethical dilemma is respect to the king. When she receives Sultan's marriage proposal, she really wants to reject it. However, due to her respect to the Sultan, she decides to make a list of impossible conditions because she thinks that Sultan will back off after listening to the conditions. Lastly, the next ethical dilemma is violation of curse. Due to her action of making the impossible conditions, it has made the Sultan feel humiliated. Hence, he cursed Gusti Puteri. This has made her get into dilemma whether she needs to follow it or violate it.
Terus berdiam di atas puncak Gunung Ledang, supaya tidak melukai hati sesiapa pun. Izinkan saya, Tuanku.
Beta perkenankan permintaan kamu. Tetapi perbuatanmu ini tetap neraka.
Dan sesungguhnya bumi Melaka ini bumi berdaulat.
Kamu akan keseorangan di puncak Ledang saja. Tidak boleh dipandang sesiapa sesudah subuh kelak. Nescaya dia yang memandang. Beta sumpah
hilang nyawa, bermuntahkan darah.
For the villain, he also has experienced 4 ethical dilemmas. The first one, personal desire or duty. Sultan has a crush on Gusti Puteri. Hence, when the king of Majapahit came to ask for the Sultan's help to save his country, both of them has made the deal that Sultan will marry Gusti Puteri despite the Sultan has been married to Tun Teja. This has made him in dilemma whether he wants to continue the marriage with Gusti Puteri to fulfill his desires or refuse it and continue to focus on his family and Malacca. The second ethical dilemma is integrity of a king. Sultan has received Gusti Puteri's impossible conditions to fulfill if he wants to marry her. The conditions can make his integrity as a ruler being questioned by the people of Malacca. Hence, he faces dilemma whether to proceed fulfilling all of them. The next one is sacrifice for love. One of the conditions listed is Sultan must get the blood of his sons, the prince. This has made he is in dilemma whether to sacrifice his son for his love to Gusti Puteri or choose his family. The last ethical dilemma faced by the Sultan is wrath and forgiveness. The action of Gusti Puteri has made the Sultan is fumed with anger. Hence, he cursed Gusti Puteri. He may face dilemma beforehand whether to forgive Gusti Puteri or pursue his wrath.
Sembah patik harap diampun. Kesemua permintaan ini amat kecil berbanding dengan kebesaran ke bawah duli tuanku. Dan kebesaran tuanku itu teruja dengan permintaan yang begitu tinggi hasratnya. Apakah nilainya hanya nyawa seorang tengku mahkota kita berbanding dengan ribuan nyawa rakyat Jawa? Akan tetapi, apakah nilainya ribuan nyawa rakyat Jawa yang bukan jajahan Melaka dan hanya untuk memenuhi syarat hantaran perkahwinan tuanku? Ampun tuanku beribu-ribu.
Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Dr. Hishaina. Today we are going to explore the intriguing topic of legacy and power through the lens of Sultan Mahmud Shah, theological pursuit. Our discussion for today is action taken by the villain based on theological point of view. We will revolve around Sultan Mahmud Shah motivation, strategy, decision making, moral justification, and the conflict and consequence arise from his pursuit of legacy and power. Okay, let's start with what is theological. Theological ethics is a theory of morality that derives duty or moral obligation from what is good or desirable as an end to be achieved. In Puteri Gunung Ledang, Sultan Mahmud Shah action can be analyzed from a theological perspective, focusing on goals or end he seeks to achieve and the purpose behind his decision as the antagonist of the story. From theological point of view, what drives Sultan Mahmud Shah? The point is he wants power and a lasting legacy, aiming to marry Princess Gusti Puteri to strengthen his rule and leave a mark in history. Sultan Mahmud Shah seeks a legacy and power, viewing himself as a strong ruler, aspiring to increase his authority and leave a significant historical impact. His desire to marry Princess Gusti Puteri of Mount Ledang stemmed from this ambitions, aiming to solidify his rule and ensure a prosperous legacy for his dynasty. How does he act to achieve this? He made strategic decisions like sending messenger and used force to gain power and authority for his kingdom. Throughout the narrative, Sultan Mahmud Shah made strategic decisions aligned with his theological goals. This includes sending messenger, engaging in diplomatic pursuit for an alliance with Gusti Puteri kingdom, and resorting to force when necessary. These actions are calculated to elevate his realm status and secure his authority. Why does he think his actions are right? He believed his harsh method are necessary sacrifice for his realm's growth and justified for the greater goods. Sultan Mahmud Shah justified his action theologically, seeing them as necessary for the growth and longevity for his realms. He may defend his harsh method as sacrifice for the greater goods, believing they are justified means to achieve his desired outcome. What are the results of his action? His pursuit led to conflict, treason, and disappointment, showing the challenge of his theological mindset. Sultan Mahmud Shah has have conflict and consequences, which are also highlighted by theological lens. His persistent pursuit of his objective put him at odds with other characters in the narrative as well as Gusti Puteri and his realms. His action result which include treason, loss, and eventually disappointed hope are important aspects that drive this story and highlight the difficulties of theological thinking. What can we conclude from theological point of view is examining Sultan Mahmud Shah character as a villain through a theological lens reveal many of motivation, justification, and ethical complexity that contribute to the narrative depth of Puteri Gunung Ledang and provoke truth about the nature of power, ambition, and morality. That's all. Thank you for engaging in this exploration of Sultan Mahmud Shah theological pursuit of legacy and power.
Next is about deontological theory. It's about judges the morality of an action based on the action's adherence to a rule or rules. It is sometimes described as duty or obligation or rule-based ethics because rules bind you to your duty. In the movie, Hang Tuah and Puteri Gunung Ledang's story explores doing what they believe is right because it's their duty even when faced with tough choices. The actions of the hero and heroine in Puteri Gunung Ledang from a deontological perspective is first, loyalty and obedience. Hang Tuah, the hero, is often portrayed as an epitome of loyalty and obedience, especially to the Sultan. From a deontological viewpoint, his unwavering loyalty and obedience to the Sultan can be seen as fulfilling his duty-bound obligations regardless of the consequences. Next is refusal. Puteri Gunung Ledang, the heroine, is depicted as refusing the Sultan's request, including his marriage proposal. This act can be interpreted as her adherence to her own moral principles and values, refusing to compromise them even under pressure. Then, ethical dilemmas and conflict. The movie also presents ethical dilemmas and conflicts between duty, personal beliefs, and societal expectations. Hang Tuah, for instance, faces dilemmas regarding his loyalty when asked to perform morally questionable tasks. Next, consequences of actions. Deontological ethics often prioritize the intent and moral duty rather than consequences. This perspective can be seen in how characters like Hang Tuah and Puteri Gunung Ledang make decisions based on their sense of duty regardless of potential outcomes. Lastly, ethical codes and cultural context. Hang Tuah's loyalty to the Sultan is seen as a good thing because it's part of his duty according to the ethical code of loyalty to rulers. Puteri Gunung Ledang refusing the Sultan's proposals is seen as right because it shows she's independent and sticking to her beliefs, which are valued in her cultural context. In conclusion, based on deontological theory, Puteri Gunung Ledang shows characters like Hang Tuah and Puteri Gunung Ledang making choices based on what they believe is their duty or moral obligation even when it's challenging. This highlights the importance of following moral rules and principles in decision making.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Balkis and I will be presenting about Golden Rule. Golden Rule is a moral principle that states one should treat others as they would like to be treated themselves. It often expressed as do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Essentially, it promotes empathy, kindness, and reciprocity in human interactions by putting oneself in another's shoes and considering how one would want to be treated in a given situation, individuals can make more ethical decisions and foster better relationships with others. There are few of ethical actions based on the golden rule that I would have taken if I was in Sultan Mahmud Shah's shoes. Firstly, respect and empathy. He may have recognized Gusti Puteri as an individual with her own ideas, feelings and desires if he showed empathy and respect for her. Rather than seeing her purely as a means to fulfill his needs, he should have spent more time understanding her point of view and concerns. This involves having meaningful interactions with her, carefully listening to her views and feelings, and taking her requests into account when making any relationship decisions. By treating Gusti Puteri as an equal, Sultan Mahmud Shah would have exhibited genuine respect for her own independence and choice, creating an alliance based on mutual understanding and empathy. Secondly, honesty and integrity. To approach the situation with honesty and integrity, Sultan Mahmud Shah must have acknowledged the complexity of his emotions and commitments openly. Instead of hiding his emotions and making selfish decisions, he should have communicated openly and honestly with his wife and associates. This would require addressing the ethical issues and potential conflicts of interest inherent in his circumstances, as well as seeking advice and assistance from trusted associates. By keeping his promises with honesty and integrity, Sultan Mahmud Shah would have earned the trust and respect of people around him, building a culture of transparency and integrity within his empire. And lastly, justice and fairness. Considering about the implications of his actions for his empire and citizens would have allowed Sultan Mahmud Shah to emphasize justice and fairness in his decision-making process. Rather than acting rashly based on his own interests, he should have taken a step back to consider the potential ramifications of his action for his subjects' well-being and the stability of his empire. Consider the traditional conventions and expectations surrounding ruler-commoner interactions, as well as the potential impact on political alliances and diplomatic relations with countries nearby. By putting the greater good ahead of personal gain, Sultan Mahmud Shah would have exhibited a commitment to justice and fairness, resulting in a more equitable and harmonious society. In conclusion, by showing respect and empathy, being honest and having integrity, and considering justice and fairness in his decisions, Sultan Mahmud Shah could have handled the situation in a better way. This would have not only helped him in his personal relationships, but also made him a better leader, creating a fairer and more caring society.
There are 4 lessons that we learn after watching Puteri Gunung Ledang movie. Firstly, sacrifice for love. The movie portrayed the sacrifice made by both Hang Tuah and the Puteri for their love. This lesson teaches us about the depth of true love, which often involves selflessness and putting the needs of others above our own. It underscores the importance of empathy, understanding and making choices that prioritize the well-being of our loved one, even if it requires personal sacrifice. Next, the power of determination. The Puteri unwavering determination to protect her kingdom and uphold her value against external threat demonstrate the power of resilience and steadfastness. Despite facing immense challenges and temptation, she remained committed to her principle and refused to compromise her integrity. This lesson emphasized the importance of staying true to oneself and maintaining focus on one's goal even in the face of adversity. It teaches us that determination and perseverance are essential quality for achieving success and overcoming. Moreover, consequences of greed. The Sultan's desire for power and wealth lead to disastrous consequences, highlighting the danger of greed and the importance of humility. It reminds us of the importance of humility, integrity, and considering the consequences of our action. It teaches us that greed can blind us to the need of others and ultimately lead to our own downfall. Lastly, cultural value. The movie celebrates Malay culture and tradition, showcasing values such as honor, loyalty, and respect for heritage throughout its narrative. It provides insight into the rich culture, tribe sky of Malaysia, promoting cultural pride and understanding among viewers. This lesson underscores the importance of preserving and cherishing one's cultural identity and heritage. It encourages appreciation for diverse cultural tradition and value, fostering a sense of belonging and unify within society. Overall, Puteri Gunung Ledang not only entertain audience with its captivating story and visual, but also impart valuable lesson about love, determination, ethics, and cultural pride.